A teacher and former student meeting again as adults. Have you ever wondered what would happen if someone from your past suddenly walked back into your life? This story begins on a rainy afternoon in the city of Seattle. Emma Parker, a 32-year-old high school literature teacher, stepped out of a bookstore carrying a bag filled with novels. She loved books and often spent her weekends searching for new stories to recommend to her students. As she hurried toward her car, a strong gust of wind blew several papers from her bag. Before she could chase them, a tall man bent down and gathered the scattered pages. "Here you go," he said with a warm smile. Emma looked up. For a moment, neither of them spoke. The man seemed strangely familiar. Then his eyes widened. "Miss Parker?" Emma blinked in surprise. "Daniel? Daniel Brooks?" The young boy she once taught had become a confident and successful man. 10 years had passed since Daniel graduated from high school. Back then, he had been quiet, shy, and often sat alone in the back of a classroom. Now he stood before her wearing a business suit and carrying a laptop bag. They laughed at the unexpected reunion. "Would you like to have coffee?" Daniel asked. Emma hesitated only briefly before agreeing. They walked to a nearby cafe and spent the next hour talking. Daniel shared that he had become an architect and recently returned to Seattle after working abroad for several years.
Emma told him she was still teaching at the same school. "I always wanted to thank you," Daniel said. Emma tilted her head. "For what?" "For believing in me when nobody else did." His words brought back memories. When Daniel was 16, he struggled with confidence. Many teachers considered him average, but Emma had seen something special in him. She encouraged him to enter a design competition after noticing his talent for sketching buildings. At first, he refused, but Emma never stopped encouraging him. Eventually, Daniel entered the competition and won first place. That victory became the turning point in his life. "If you hadn't pushed me," Daniel admitted, "I don't think I would have become an architect." Emma smiled. "Daniel, you did the hard work. I only pointed you in the right direction." Their conversation flowed naturally. Hours seemed like minutes. When they finally left the cafe, Daniel asked if they could stay in touch. Emma agreed. Over the following months, they met occasionally for lunch or coffee. Their friendship grew stronger. They discovered they shared many interests. They both loved books, enjoyed hiking, and had a passion for helping young people succeed. Yet, Emma remained careful.
She knew their connection had begun as teacher and student. Even though years had passed and they were now both adults, she wanted to ensure their friendship remained respectful and appropriate. Daniel understood. He admired Emma deeply, not only for the role she had played in his life, but for the person she was. Kind, intelligent, compassionate. One evening, they attended a charity event supporting education programs for underprivileged children. As they worked together organizing donations, Emma noticed how naturally they functioned as a team. Daniel made people laugh. He listened carefully when others spoke, and he genuinely cared about helping others. For the first time, Emma began seeing him not as a former student, but as the man he had become. Meanwhile, Daniel found himself looking forward to every moment they spent together. However, he feared expressing his feelings. What if Emma felt uncomfortable? What if their history made a relationship impossible? Months passed. Neither said anything. Then, one autumn afternoon, Emma received devastating news. The school where she taught was facing major budget cuts. Several programs she cared deeply about were at risk. Emma felt discouraged. When Daniel learned about the situation, he immediately offered help. Using his professional network, he organized a fundraising campaign. Former students, local businesses, and community leaders contributed generously. The campaign raised enough money to save several educational programs. At the celebration event, Emma stood before a crowd of supporters, her eyes filled with tears as she thanked everyone. Then she looked directly at Daniel. "You've changed countless lives," she said. Daniel shook his head. "No, you did that years ago when you believed in a shy teenager who didn't believe in himself." The audience applauded. Emma felt her heart race. That night, after the event ended, they walked through a quiet park illuminated by streetlights. The autumn leaves crunched beneath their feet. Neither wanted the evening to end. Finally, Daniel stopped walking. "Emma," he said softly. She turned toward him. "There is something I've wanted to tell you for a long time." His voice trembled slightly. "I know our story began in a classroom. I know you were my teacher, and I was your student. But that was years ago." Emma listened silently. Daniel took a deep breath. "Today, when I look at you, I don't see my teacher. I see an incredible woman, someone I admire, respect, and care about deeply." For a moment, the world seemed to stand still. Emma's heart pounded. She had sensed his feelings for months. The truth was, she had developed feelings of her own. Not for the student she once taught, but for the man standing before her now. She smiled gently. "Daniel, I've been afraid to admit that I feel the same way." Relief spread across his face. Neither rushed forward, neither acted impulsively. Instead, they stood together beneath the falling leaves, grateful for honesty and mutual respect. Their relationship developed slowly and thoughtfully. Friends and family supported them because they understood something important. The connection between Emma and Daniel was not built on their past roles. It was built on who they had become as adults. Two people who respected each other. Two people who inspired each other. And two people who discovered that sometimes life brings people back together when the timing is finally right. A year later, they returned to the same cafe where they had reunited. As they sat by the window watching the rain fall outside, Emma smiled. "Can you believe a gust of wind started all of this?" Daniel laughed. "Best storm of my life." And as they held hands across the table, both knew that some chapters end only so that a more beautiful one can begin. The end.